Ancient Training Systems presents the Strong History Podcast in association with Macmillan's Martial Arts and Ironstorm Kettlebells.
And welcome to episode 2 of the Strong History Podcast. I'm here with Adam Gregus, a SFG Level 2 kettlebell instructor. So hello Adam.
Hello everyone.
Yeah, so let's start it off, get straight onto it. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, my name is Adam Gregus. I'm from Hungary and I'm the Strongfirst Level 2 kettlebell instructor. And I'm the founder of the Ironstorm kettlebell in Plymouth. So that's me. I've been doing kettlebell training for 7 years now. Kettlebells introduced me by my best friend Norbert Kuhn. Both of us, we went to Kosovo, with the Hungarian army. I used to be a soldier there. And he just brought a piece of iron with a handle. And I asked him, he was my squad leader, so he was my commander. And I was asking him, okay man, but what is this? What you gonna do with this piece of iron? What's the name of this stuff? And he said, oh, that's kettlebell. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna do this kettlebell training in the next 6 months in Kosovo in my free time. And I prepared myself for the next Strongfirst course. It was RKC in that time. We spent 6 months in Kosovo, from February till August 2009, and that 6 months we used to do lots of kettlebell training. And he asked me if I want, I can join to him. He will teach me the basic fundamental exercises, and that will be good for me and will be good for him because he doesn't have to do his training alone, you know?
Yeah.
So he will have a training partner. And I said, okay, why not? I never seen this kettlebell before, but okay, I'm gonna try it. And I joined him and we became best friends.
What sort of training did you do before the kettlebells? So did you just do your standard basic training for the Hungarian army, or did you do another training on top of that?
Not really. Before the kettlebells, I didn't really do anything. Sometimes, you know, the typical bodybuilding stuff. I was 21 years old, so everyone does it. Okay, go to the gym, pumping some iron, but just sometimes. But the kettlebell training is just, it's just pulled me into this whole world.
Did you do like was there a gym on the camp or anything like that? Is that where you did your bodybuilding sort of training?
Yeah, it was a gym in the camp.
Yeah.
We did it a few times, and it was an outdoor gym as well.
Yeah.
And in the army we had to do every morning with physical training.
Oh right, okay.
We started every morning with physical training. It was 1.5 to 2 hours, and after the day just started. So that was the first thing.
So after you left the army, then you did the SFG Level 1, was that it? And then your Level 2?
Yes, I left the army in October 2013, and I did the SFG Level 1 in August 2013. But that was the plan. I said, okay, I will leave the army, I will move to UK, but I want to teach the people the kettlebell training, because in the UK it's not so famous, the Strongfirst, I mean, because in Hungary there are almost 300 Strongfirst kettlebell instructors, so it's really part of the culture now.
Yeah.
But in the UK there are only 28, 30, I'm not sure about the numbers, but so less.
Tell us a little bit about Strongfirst. What is it, and what is RKC, for example?
Okay, Strongfirst, it used to be RKC before. Pavel Tsatsovin, the former and the founder of the Strongfirst and the RKC. It's about, we try to teach the people how to be strong first, how to get good skills, how to move better. And one of the main principle is the strength is a skill,
Mm.
and first move well, then move more. So that's the most important thing in the strong first. Teach the people how to be strong, but use only perfect movement patterns.
Yeah.
That's the most important, perfect movement pattern. Because if someone if someone can do a proper squat, without weight, there is no way to give them kettlebells to do squats.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense.
But good movement should be the foundation of all systems.
Yeah,
Agree,
good movement. Yeah.
I would say. I mean, so if you went to a really good, say for example, powerlifting club or weightlifting club, they would want you to get good movement before.
Yeah, exactly.
Before really going for it on the movements, before getting super strong.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no good getting strong in a poor movement pattern.
Yeah, you can be strong with a poor movement pattern, but you can get really serious injuries.
Mm.
But if you follow the perfect movement patterns, you can avoid the injuries.
So how long has kettlebell training been in Hungary?
Since 2006, I think.
All right, so it's a fairly new introduction, even.
Yeah,
though,
it's really new, and a guy named Peter Lakatos, he was the first kettlebell instructor in Hungary. He completed one of Pavel's kettlebell instructor certificate in 2005 or 6. I'm not sure about that. And after he brought it to Hungary.
Was that in America or in Russia?
It was in Europe somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I don't really remember where it was. Yeah, and he did it, and he brought it into Hungary, but he didn't want to make a kettlebell revolution or something like that. He did it just for himself, but after the people started interested in kettlebell training, first his friends, small training groups, and after now there are 300 kettlebell instructors in Hungary, and I think in Europe that's one of the biggest kettlebell community in Hungary.
Yeah. So go for a bit of the history of the kettlebell. I know a little bit of it. I know that since around about sort of the early 18th century, kettlebells started to really sort of emerge. The word in Russian started to emerge. It's gira? Giria. Yeah. But other than that, I haven't really found out a great deal about them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the origins of the kettlebell is no one sure about them. Many people say it's from Russia. That's 100%. That's a part of the Russian culture.
Yeah.
But the ancient Greece, there is an archaeological museum.
Yeah.
Of Olympic in Athens, in Greece, and there is a 143 kilogram heavy kettlebell in that museum.
I know what you're on about, and that is
and there is a sign on this kettlebell like Bibbon.
Bibbon stone.
Had me above his head by one hand, and this is from the ancient Greece.
Yeah,
So
I've seen the stone. It's got a carved hand. It's had a handle chiseled out in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks like something. It kind of looks like a kettlebell or a agricultural weight. Yeah, I've seen that stone, Bibbon stone. It is really cool. Whether or not it's a kettlebell depends on your perspective. If you're only trained with dumbbells, you might say that's a dumbbell.
Yeah.
If you I mean, I would say that as far as I can ascertain, kettlebells start from around about the early 18th century, 1700.
Yeah, exactly. And in Russia, they used kettlebells for weighing crops. Kettlebell used to be a counterweight in Russia, and they used goods, grains, and crops with the kettlebells.
Yeah.
And after, it always happens, there are two men in the same place, and there is a weight. For example, in the first 1-2 weeks, they use it for weighing the stuff. But after, they will start pressing.
Yeah.
How many reps can you do? Okay, let's try. And they start. And that's the mankind.
Yeah. I'm totally understand that. I mean, I was working on a building site last year, and everyone got together. There were a load of bricks around, engineering bricks. The bricks weigh, I don't know, maybe about a kilo, I think, each. Probably a little less, or 800 grams. Anyway, so what they did is they lined up all the bricks together. How many bricks can you squeeze together and lift?
Yeah,
That's what we all did. And then in the end, I got up to 15 bricks squeezing together, lifting it, and then some giant comes along and he does 19 bricks. The brick lift, it's called. You can see it, the world's strongest man. But yeah, it's just men getting together and going, "Bet I can throw that further than you."
Yeah. That's it. And that's happened in Russia. And these Russian farmers became stronger, and they found the kettlebell useful to show off their strength during festivals.
Yeah.
That was the beginning, you know. And they became stronger and stronger. And in Russia, there is another big name. They call the forefather of the modern gym. The name is I'm not sure. He's a Russian guy.
It's the physical culture analyst.
Dr. Vladislav Kraevsky.
That's the one. Yeah.
The name of that guy. And this guy spent 10 years from 1870 to 1880. He just traveled through Europe, tried to get some information about the training cultures in Europe, and after he moved back to Russia, and in 1885 he opened the first weight training hall.
Yeah.
And he was the leader of this training hall, and the most important principle was there.
Yeah.
Muscular development.
Yeah. So the kettlebell is sort of looking at it. The kettlebell's developed sort of alongside the barbell.
Yeah.
In Russia. So in Russia you have the kettlebell lifting and the kettlebell weights, and then say in further west, in Germany, in England, and in America, but a lot in England. The big physical culture thing in England that went on in the Victorian age, so the 1890s. They sort of focused on barbells, so in Russia they focused more on kettlebells, or did they have a lot more barbell training as well alongside it?
I think but there is a guy named Arthur Saxon. Have you heard about him?
Yeah, Arthur Saxon, yeah.
He was really great, and I think one of the strongest men in the world. He used a lot kettlebells. Eugene Sandow,
Yeah.
He used as well.
Yeah, I've read some of the bits on that, and instead of calling them kettlebells, they call them iron rings.
Yeah.
yeah. So a lot of the reporters at the time that they talk about, say Arthur Saxon and the Saxon brothers, they talk about the training, and Arthur Saxon calls them. He doesn't call them kettlebells, and he doesn't call them the Russian name. Giria. He doesn't call them Giria. He calls them iron rings. Perhaps because they're not like modern kettlebells. If you've ever been to the Highland Games, they have like these agricultural weights, and they've got a handle, and sometimes they're a fixed handle, and other times the weight and the handle is separate. I mean, I've got an example of the handle over there, which I showed you earlier. So they just called them iron rings, but the training principle is fairly similar. I mean, I've seen you do a 48 kilo bench press.
40.
40, yeah,
right. But the goal is 40.
40, that was 40, all right.
Yeah, the bench
I'm just
press.
bigging you up there. Yeah, 48 kilos, yeah. No, it was 40. But no, yeah, okay.
That was 48.
Yeah, 100% 48. But yeah, that kind of thing, I've seen that they did bench presses with barbells, dumbbells, and the what do they call it? The one hand anyhow. I've seen like two hands anyhow. Yeah.
Arthur Saxon was the best in this. Yeah. He did with two altogether in two hands, 203 kilogram.
Yeah.
In the stronger hand, you hold.
Yeah.
You push
the barbell
overhead, and do a bench press,
Yeah.
pick up a heavy kettlebell
Bell.
from the ground and press that one with your left hand overhead. And he did it. He
370 pounds, they said.
had, 203 kilograms. I don't really
That's
know.
I think that's two. I'm pretty sure that's
One of his
203. That's more than 400 pounds.
yeah, one of his
450 pounds.
yeah, in his right hand
Yeah.
he held 163 kilogram in barbell and the 50 or 40 kilos kettlebell.
Yeah, the
in his
160.
right hand.
That would be 370
Yeah.
pound. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Considering he wasn't a huge man either. He was maybe a 90 odd kilos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
He was the largest of the three brothers, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But unfortunately, after the World War One, he died at age 43 because he suffered from malnutrition.
Yeah.
And
in the trenches. Yeah.
Yeah, and after he went back to the training, but his body was so weak, and he couldn't afford it, and that's why he died, unfortunately.
But you've got if you go further on in history, you've got wrestlers, Russian and English wrestlers who sort of trained with, those old school barbells, those iron rings, the kettlebells. I mean, you've got a fella called George Hackenschmidt.
Yeah.
He was a absolute beast of a man and a really, really good wrestler, as well as a really, really strong wrestler. Strong man.
Yeah.
Not
That's it.
But yeah, his wrestling career is big lifts.
Yeah,
all of that.
Yeah, if you want to be strong, you have to stress your body, because every kind of training is a stress for the body, and the body is trying to adapt for this stress, and that's why you become stronger and stronger and stronger.
One of the big things I've seen, one of the things that most impressed me once was, do you know a fellow called Alexander Kralin? Probably the greatest Greco-Roman wrestler of all time, Russian fella. He trained a lot he did a lot of Russian functional training, as they'd say. But one of the things he used to see, he had two 32 kilo kettlebells, and he used to alternate press them. But he used to do this and watching it on the video, I counted 30 times. But he was still going. He was bang, bang, bang. He's really, really strong. But what would you say makes kettlebells a unique tool? What is it about them that you really, really like?
I think that's a handheld gym. You can do everything with the kettlebells, any kind of training, and you need just a small space, and you can do your own training with them. You don't need machines. That's a main problem in the 21st century, I think. There are lots of gyms, fashion gyms, lots of machines, but you are an office worker, you're sitting all day in the office, and after you just go to the gym and sit in the machines. It doesn't make any sense. Our body created to do jumps, climbs, squats, running, these kind of stuff. And the kettlebell training is a really functional training. That's really good. I don't do anything else, only kettlebell training, and I tested myself with the barbell squat.
Yeah.
I never do barbell squats, just kettlebell squats, and it's not a big result.
Yeah.
I'm 75 kilogram, and I did a squat with a 120 kilogram.
Yeah, so you can do 1.5 times.
1.5, but I never practiced with barbell, so you can make yourself really strong. You can do strength training with the kettlebells, strength endurance training, and anything you want to do. It's really, really, really good.
I mean, I've done a bit of training with kettlebells. I started when I was at a place called the Commando Temple.
Yeah.
It was my first introduction really to kettlebells. I'd seen the SFG, a couple of guys there at SFG level 1 certified. I'd see that, and it looked good. I could understand where they were coming from. I never really bothered to learn too much of the swing. I kind of got an idea of it and then just swung the kettlebell.
Yeah.
I never really took it any further. until recently when I've been started work with you.
Yeah.
I really like kettlebells. I think the thing that really makes them unique is the ability to express power.
Yes.
So, like, when we talk about strength endurance, and not talking about strength endurance in terms of grinding a weight out, like swinging a weight 50 times isn't like doing a deadlift 50 times.
Yeah.
You know, doing a deadlift, although you can do it powerfully and quickly, and if it's light, it's still kind of like that grinding feeling that you get.
Exactly.
You can't grind a swing at all. You have to have some demonstration of power to be able to swing a 24 kilo kettlebell, and it feels heavier than it should, in a way that, and this is just to do with physics. You know, at the top of a swing, when it's trying to propel you forward, when the bell is trying to pull you forward, you feel like, oh my god, that's quite a lot of weight. But when it comes to the bottom and you heave it back up, it doesn't feel so heavy.
Yeah.
You know, and the recovery. When I do a big kettlebell workout, the recovery isn't so bad. And the Turkish get up is just an awesome movement. Like it's hard work.
Well, one of the best, I think.
But it's an awesome movement because not only are you you're moving for a big range of motion, like lots of movement patterns. You get in flexibility, strength, stability,
Yes.
all in one little package. Okay, perhaps it might not be the most efficient at doing those individual pieces, but you're getting all of that together combined, which you won't get with, say, doing certain other things. I mean, the only thing I can think of that tests your strength endurance and your stability,
Mobility.
stability, but not mobility, is, say, something like a yoke, which is, you know, you need lots of space to practice one of them,
Yeah, exactly.
and you certainly won't be getting no mobility from that. You know, but yeah, a Turkish get up is an awesome movement, and as well as other movements like you know, you can do your standard pressing overhead with a kettlebell.
Yeah.
The clean is quite cool. Say if you did a double clean, it's not too far away from like a barbell clean.
Yeah.
And a barbell clean is more dangerous to do. It's harder to do. I've done a few barbell cleans. I think I've cleaned 100 kg with a barbell, a power clean. But it's not something that I can repeat over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes time to learn a barbell clean, as does with a kettlebell clean. But I think it's easier.
Yeah, and you can learn lots of good skills.
Yeah.
If you use a kettlebell, you have to learn how to use your hips, because that's the key.
Yeah.
The hips, and if you wanna do a perfect swing or anything else, you need to use your hips. And after, at the top of the swing, you have to do full muscle tension if you wanna be stable.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you can fall. You know, you can fall down, or you can drop the kettlebell. And for example, you can get really good benefits from these skills if you wanna do barbell deadlift.
Yeah.
So if you don't really know how to do a barbell deadlift and you wanna improve your movement patterns, you can do swings, you can do kettlebell deadlifts, and you can get these skills from the kettlebell, and you can use these skills in the barbell training. So that's why it's really good.
I think what makes the kettlebell such a great tool is it's small.
Yeah.
Even if you get like a big kettlebell, say a 48 kilo kettlebell, it's relatively small.
Yes.
It's just it's a large piece of iron. Yeah, it's heavy, but it's not huge.
Yeah. You can store it under your
Yeah.
bed.
And it's and it is one of the one of only a few tools that you could base an entire strength system around. So the kettlebell and the barbell are probably only the kettlebell, barbell, and body weight. It's probably the only two systems that you could just do in a complete without any other tools. You can get full body strength and endurance from. You probably can't do that with dumbbells. Although someone, I'm sure, will say, yes, I can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I don't think you can get as complete strength unless you use either kettlebells or barbells. And if you combine the two, you're really on for a winner. I mean, you've seen in very recent history, so in the last 20 years, more and more American powerlifters are using kettlebells as part of their training. So Westside Barbell, they're using kettlebell swings.
Exactly.
Louis Simmons is using swings and saying, look, use the swing to develop your deadlift movement pattern. You'll be much, much better in a conventional deadlift.
Yeah, and that's the proof. He's got only champions in the Westside barbells, and all of them use kettlebell to improve their movement patterns.
Yeah. I mean, you've got Andy Bolton was a big a man for kettlebell swinging. You know, the first man to deadlift 1,000 pounds. Yeah, and he's turned around and saying, you know, if you use kettlebells and swings, you will get a better deadlift.
Yeah.
You know, and that should be proof that they are an effective tool.
Yeah, because you can learn how to use your hips. Because when you can see a beginner person to try to do a swing, they always try to do squat swings. So they do squats, and after they pull the kettlebell by arm up to the chest level. But that's not about the arm.
I mean, have you seen people when they do deadlifts? They do like either that or they do the opposite, where they angry cat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Call it the angry cat, and they're like, and they're really bent over, and the back is well rounded.
Yeah, and I can see the spine hernia.
Yeah, and it's going, and they're going as heavy as possible because they think, I need to get I need to get this lift, but you're not getting the lift because you're not doing it properly.
Yeah, and that's why it's really important. The personal trainers should learn the proper movement patterns and teach their clients how to do them. But there's a problem in the kettlebell training. You can find lots of videos in YouTube, and I saw few personal trainers.
Yeah,
they try to use this knowledge from YouTube in the gym. So that's not the best stuff, I think. So if you want to teach something, you have to make sure you can do it, and you have that knowledge.
Yeah,
that's really important. So
that was just my fiance coming in the garage, by the way.
Hi.
And now she's leaving.
Hi.
But yeah, so I understand with the explosion of kettlebells, there's going to be people who are not 100% proficient trying to teach people. That's, I think, something that just happened. I mean, you saw it at first with with the explosion of CrossFit and what have you. You know, they come and they do there's some CrossFitters who are god awful at using kettlebells, and they're teaching people, and yet there's now CrossFitters who are really great at using it, and they're developing their own movements. I mean, if you see the what do they call it? They call it the American swing. You've seen it where basically it's just a standard kettlebell swing, but they put end up overhead because they put huge amounts of force into the hip. Instead of using a heavier bell, they just use a lighter bell and put huge amounts of force in the hip.
Yeah, and they create the power in their hips.
Yeah,
that's the key.
Yeah.
So you couldn't do it.
It's still not. It's still the same swing. It's just a lighter bell, more power.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And then that's. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, well, kettlebells will injure you, or CrossFit will injure you." It's really down to the trainer, and the bigger something gets, the more injuries people will have. You know, judo, for example. When it first came about, I'm sure that judo had a relatively small amount of injuries. But now it's huge. People are getting injured left, right and centre. But no one wants to come down on that. People are always ready to go, CrossFit or kettlebells will injure you, or weightlifting will injure you because of this and this. But if you go to Sunday League football, when I say football, I mean soccer, for anyone listening in the US. You know, and I don't know whether you guys in the US have Sunday leagues or whatever, but basically it's a bunch of ordinary guys or girls, and they just play for fun. The amount of people that get injured doing that is insane. Yeah, much higher percentage than actually any other sport. The injuries for soccer, football are one of the highest because it's got the most practitioners around the world. the more people practice something, the more people are going to get injured. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's a risk with any sort of sport, but things like kettlebells and CrossFit carry a lower risk, risk percentage or risk than like contact sports or semi-contact sports like football and basketball. So people to come out and say that is just insane, really.
Yeah, and that's the most important in the Strongfirst. We always try to teach the people how to perform the exercises 100% good.
I mean, would you say that kettlebells carry over really well to any other strength discipline?
I think the Strongfirst is at the highest standard in the industry, because we focus on the keep the people safe and make them stronger, and they can make themselves as strong as possible. But the most important thing is the safe.
Yeah. So when, like, say, you said you did a squat the other day, a back squat. You haven't done much back squatting, but would you say that your baseline level of strength is good enough for you, say, if you did 6 months of powerlifting, that you'd be happy that you'd get a fairly good number?
Maybe, yeah. I think that's
because like you did a back squat, but you're not proficient in that movement. You haven't really got into the groove of that movement pattern. You haven't like perfected it, because half of like powerlifting isn't just like some people think. It isn't just grinding out a weight with all your might. You have to have that perfect form like you do to get the most out of the movement, to be the most efficient in that movement.
I tried to keep the perfect movement. Whatever I do. So when I did the back squat, it was another powerlifter guy with me, and I told him, just look at my movement patterns, and if I do anything wrong, just tell me, because I don't want to do anything wrong. And he said it was perfect.
But your nervous system isn't used to that movement.
No.
Yeah, you see what I mean? So, like, you did 120 now, but if you're the same strength, but you're more proficient in that movement, so you've done 6 months of that movement, you're stronger in the movement, you might be a little bit stronger in your baseline level of strength, but you're stronger in that movement. Do you think you would be able to, so you did 120 off the bat, that's your baseline, so that's your baseline level of strength. You do a peak, you might get 160. That's not a bad baseline level of strength. That's not bad carryover, really.
All about the adaptation. You have to teach your brain how to control the movement of your muscles, and nervous system is really important. It's really complex. Everything in this sport is really complex, because it's not just about you just go to the gym and try to pump irons. You have to know the principles behind this, and that's really important. And it's not simple, so that's why I think my advice is, if someone newbie try to do any kind of training, just find a perfect and good coach.
Invest in a coach.
Yeah, exactly. Because we have only one body. If you crash your car, you can buy a new one. But if you do something wrong with your body, you never can buy a new one.
I think that I mentioned that when I did the podcast the other week with Danny. I said at first I didn't give a fuck. All I wanted to do was pick up the weight and as heavy as possible, whatever it was. I didn't give a shit. So one of the first things I did was when swinging kettlebells was I kind of got a swing out of a 24 kilo kettlebell. So I was like, I reckon I could do a 40 kilo kettlebell, and I kind of swung a 40 kilo kettlebell. But
how?
But how? Yeah. And then I got a back pump from after 5 reps, and I was like, not sure about that. And so I left it, forgot about it. And I've learned that lesson now, that say if I picked up a 40 kilo kettlebell, I would now think about, right, okay, let's go through the movement drill, let's deadlift with it first, then let's swing it lightly, then we'll go for one set where we swing it big, up to the middle, and then we'll work up from there, maybe like a little ladder to warm up and to maximise proficiency in that movement.
Yeah, and we try to don't do workouts in the kettlebell training. We can set up a plan, but I always say if you can do 10 swings, but you feel just 5 reps perfect, just put it down after that, because it doesn't make any sense to do the rest of the 5 reps in a bad form.
Yeah, technical
Not
failure.
help.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
technical failure.
it's your plan to do 10 swings. Try to do it, but if after 5 reps you lose the control, just put it down.
And what about sort of mixing kettlebells with? Would you advocate, say, mixing kettlebells in with, say, a calisthenics program, bodyweight program? So I was going to do. So you do swings, then push-ups, and then maybe some Bulgarian split squats. You know, would you advocate, or would you try and put all of that training day into the kettlebell?
I think you don't have to do only just kettlebell training. First you have to find what's your goal, and after you have to find the perfect equipments and training systems to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
And if it's from kettlebell training, from bodyweight training, and from barbell training, and you have to mix them together, just mix it.
Yeah.
But you have to find the goal. It's simple. If you wanna be good in running, you have to run. If you wanna do squats with a heavy weight, you have to practice that.
Yeah.
It depends on the goal.
Yeah, specific physical preparation.
Yeah, exactly.
But as a general physical preparation tool, you know, would you say that kettlebells top it? You know, at the top of the list for you? 100%.
Yes.
So when, like, let's take the example of a grappler, like a wrestler or a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner or judoka. They, of course, they need to practice their art or their grappling as much as possible, as much as they physically can. But they also need to be, you know, strong and fit.
Yeah, I think the kettlebell is an awesome tool if they want to use it in MMA or grappling or wrestling, because the center of the grappling, I think I'm not professional in that, but it's really important your hips, you know, but your core strength.
But far too many times people have got, like the case with American football, and I've read a ton of articles on it and looked, you know, lots of people have made comment on it, that what the American footballers are doing is they're getting American football coaches to do the strength and conditioning programs, the general physical preparation programs. But that's no good, because those guys know American football. They don't know strength and conditioning. They don't know general physical preparation. It might be better to say, have you do a program for a grappler in general physical preparation, you know, getting them to work around their grappling. In terms of their strength and conditioning, then say have another jiu-jitsu practitioner tell them, or the jiu-jitsu coach give them a strength and conditioning program, because you've studied the general physical preparation, and the jiu-jitsu coach has studied jiu-jitsu.
Yes, and that's why professional MMA fighters, they have more coaches. They have a grappling coach or BJJ coach, and maybe a kickbox or whatever, and a strength and conditioning coach. That's really important. And everyone does what they can do and what they can provide 100%.
I mean, because the wrestlers of old, you know, the wrestlers in the 19th century, whether they were from England, whether they were from Russia, whether they were from India, they had, you know, whether the kushti wrestlers or catch wrestlers or you know, or gleamer wrestlers, they didn't just wrestle. You know, half of these guys were actually professional strongmen on the side as well. So that they had that. Not only were they really fit, and they did lots of wrestling, they were also enormously strong.
They used their body.
And functional strength. You know, like kettlebells, the two hands anyhow, the bent presses, things like that.
That's really good. And there is a funny story from Russia. In 1981, the Russian government said, okay, working people, everyone must do kettlebell training because you can get a lot of benefit from the kettlebell training, and no excuses. Everyone must do it to increase the productivity and decrease the healthcare cost of the government. And everyone had to do the kettlebell training.
It's a bit 1984, isn't it? Have you ever read 1984? No, I mean, you ever read the novel 1984? Yeah. It talks about everyone has to do everyone has to do a physical in the morning when they have the telly screens.
Yeah.
And he said, Winston Smith, get up, why aren't you doing your jumps, Winston? That's kind of like that. That's a bit creepy, but cool, but a bit creepy at the same time, a bit disconcerting.
Yeah, everyone, that's why if you think about Russian people, you always think, those are tough guys, because the rest of them are really tough.
Yeah.
That's a part of their culture.
The last person I want to talk about is this man, and you'll be able to say his name better than me.
Valentin Yikon.
Now, this man is an absolute beast. Talk about Valentin.
Okay, I know a few things about him. So he used kettlebells. He's a strongman from Russia, and I know when he was a young guy, he broke his spine. And after everyone said, "Okay, my son, you will never stand up from the wheelchair," and he formed kind of training system for himself. And it took 2 years hard work for him, but after he could stand up from the wheelchair, and he became one of the strongest men in the Russian history. He was a performer in circuses, and now he's a quite old guy. I think he's almost 70 years old.
Yeah.
And he helps people to stand up from wheelchair, and he has an own method.
Yeah.
And he's got lots of successful stories, so he's amazing.
Didn't he juggle kettlebells?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You can find videos on YouTube, so that's crazy what he did. It's crazy.
All right, well, we're going to close out this podcast. Thank you very much, Adam, for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Do you want to talk about where the people can find you on the internet?
Yeah, people can find me www.ironstormkettlebell.com. That's my page, or Facebook. Ironstorm Kettlebell, and I do kettlebell training. I teach seminars, courses in Plymouth. So if anyone want to do real kettlebell training for their movement patterns and for their strength, everyone can find me.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. This has been the Strong History Podcast. Latest, motherfuckers.